Hello everyone! Happy Wednesday to each and everyone. We are live here right now in Tambayanihan Garden Cafe. So it's already the 10th of February, 4 days short of our Valentine's. But we are already feeling all the love here, all the happiness, and of course, I wish you all the same way as well. No? So with Valentine's, usually, it is considered as one of the most important times, especially for couples. Those couples who want to have children. No? So our topic for today, for this evening, is actually about infertility and pregnancy. Kasi we know that there are a lot of people who wish to get pregnant, especially for those who've been together for so long, who have been married for quite a long time, and yet cannot make the baby still or cannot get another baby. For some, I know some meron ng baby but wala pang baby number 2 or planning to have baby number 3. Hello Agnes, Anita my dear, hello. Hello LJ Linda, thank you so much. I'm glad you are here, no? So fourth time na ba? Is it your fourth time already to watch my live episode? Thank you so much. So with me here is my dog Onyx Girl and also the crew of Tambayanihan Cafe. So our topic right now again is metabolic infertility. It might be the first time you will be able to hear the term metabolic infertility. But later on, we will explain why this is so, no? Why it is important to understand what metabolic infertility is. Actually, mas importante siya kaysa sa more common known causes of infertility like, say for example, PCOS or polycystic ovarian syndrome. So I would like to thank, of course, Ma'am Rosette Baldo for sending me videos and links that are also very much helpful with our research, with our understanding, when it comes to our health. And of course, yung health natin ngayon, we will tackle about infertility and how to maximize that to our advantage, how to possibly counter the infertility or the inability to conceive, no, yung medyo mahirap magkaroon ng anak or mahirap na pagbubuntis. We will try to tackle that just by improving our lifestyle. So before we start, of course, let me greet all of our very supportive friends and families. Ma'am Amabel Colina Jaime, hello. I know you are from Cebu. Hello po. Jocelyn Satre de los Santos. Thank you po for all the love. Daisy Lindel Alvarez, hello. Jocelyn, hello. I'm so happy nandito kayo. Eating my dinner now. Second meal, which is regular siomai and bacon wrapped siomai. Wow! Bacon siomai is my favorite of all types of siomai. Even before discovery of low carb and fasting, I'm really a fan of bacon. So if you've seen the post I just made 30 minutes ago, I was grilling bacon slices, thick bacon slices, pork belly. So, yun na rin yung dinner ko. But bacon siomai, meron akong favorite na restaurant noon sa Cebu. It's Ding Kwakwa or sister company nila yung, yung sister company ng Ding Kwakwa and Dim Sum Break. Tsaka meron pang tatlo. A house, yun? Sa mga taga Cebu, yung third sister company ng Ding Kwakwa at Dim Sum Break? Harbor City. Yes, Harbor City. So yun, favorite namin doon yung bacon siomai. But right now, I think they closed already their branch here in Bacolod. So it's been a while since I got to taste the real bacon siomai. So parang gusto kong kunin yung contact ni Agnes for the bacon siomai here in Bacolod. So Kathy Bertudes, hello. Nix Obamos, hello. And of course, Milet Aksavan and Maria Mer Diaz, hello. Mahmoud, my friend, hello. Thank you so much for watching. I'm glad you are here. I hope you are doing well and with better wellness, better overall health right now. Angela Ramos de los Reyes, thank you. LJ Linda, thank you for tagging. And of course, you can share this to your timeline. Get a shout out for your friends and families whom you think can benefit from this way of life. Personally, I know people who are already expecting their child in the weeks to come and I'm so happy. Tatlo na ata sila and sobrang happy talaga because I know they've been praying to have a baby for quite some time. So, buti na lang, there is a hack on how to do it, of course, no? So, we can have topic today that is adult topics, no? So, this is specially made for couples, for those married couples specifically, or those who are together for quite a long time who wish to have a child, who wish to get pregnant. So baka meron tayong R18 topic dito. So for all those who are below 18 years old, kindly watch this together with your parents. I am pro sex education, but part of that is responsible sex education, because we will tackle about natural occurrence in human life, which is reproduction. So we will talk about female fertility, male and female reproductive systems, and of course, hindi lang yung babae usually may problema, no? As akala natin, whenever we talk about infertility, whenever we talk about difficulty of getting pregnant, we thought it's always the females. But there's also such a thing as male infertility. There is even what we call as erectile dysfunction, the inability to have an erection. And having an erection, hindi siya malaswa. It's not something sensual or sexual. It's just part of the normal way to reproduce by science, by biblical terms. It's just part of human nature. So we will tackle about that. We will all be mature here and share our experiences in an educational manner, okay? So we will soon start. Before we start, I would like to say hi, of course, to EJ and of course Mona, who's with you, I'm sure. And Abeliana Kasha, hello. It's nice to see you again. Me too. You always have a radiant smile. Thank you, Mahmoud. You're such a good friend. I'm happy I have a friend all the way across the all across the earth in the Middle East. I hope to visit Middle East again in the near future. So, Harbor City, bakit niya alam ni EJ? Have you been to Cebu? Yeah, I really love Harbor City. Yes, Amabel, love na love kong Harbor City and Dingquaqua. I used to eat at Dingquaqua because I took college in Lahug, in UP Cebu. So, Dingquaqua branch is in JY Mall. So, I used to eat there halos every weekend, because they also have unlimited dim sum during, I think they have unlimited dim sum there before. So, Sharon Roldan, hello. All is well. Thank you in advance for another learnings you will share today. Malu Gloria, I'm happy to catch up with your FB Live. Thank you so much, Ma'am Malu. I'm so happy you were able to get the books already. And later on, we will have a little surprise for those who are watching right now. Is that Clea, my dear? Thank you so much for watching. Palangga, salamat. Thank you. I hope you can benefit from this. I know you and your beloved Dan, no, would like to have baby number 2. So I hope this topic can help you. So first, we can divide infertility into, no, male and female infertility. So ano yung unahin natin? Hello, I'm so happy na nandito ka. Queen Clea is a good friend of mine. We've been friends. Alam mo ba, mag-anniversary na ang Bayanihan Mission this coming March. So Clea is one of our online frontliners, when we were very, very active helping those who are very much affected during the height of the pandemic last March to around September last year. So we've been friends even if we haven't met yet in person, just like so many of you here na hindi ko pa na-meet in person, but our connection is even deeper than the people we sometimes meet every day on a personal level, because we are connected in something that we all believe in. So it is usually the cause or the advocacy, and this time what we will talk about is natural health and wellness, of course, natural healing. Kasi pwede tayong mag-heal, no? I think we are all in here because we've all been on the other side, wherein we were so much putting all of our faith and belief in medicines, the medicines that we took, the medicines that are being prescribed to us. But actually, as what one of the experts said, no medicine can really cure a disease, but it can only alleviate the symptoms. So it is only addressing the symptoms, but not really the root cause. And that is why we are doing what we are doing right now, to educate as many people as possible, that even if we still take medicine, but we understand that most of our illnesses are actually having a root cause, and 80 to 95% of all illness are actually brought about by poor food choices, poor lifestyle habits, unhealthy lifestyle habits, and the rest is just trauma. 5 to 10% is all made of trauma, and the rest can actually be either prevented or even cured with just the right amount of nutrition, and of course some support with medications on the early part. Okay, so if you are not on a very hazardous work, or you're doing your safety measures like wearing your helmet if you're riding a motorcycle, or not using motorcycle at all, then that is much better. Okay, so female infertility, we can talk about it first, especially that wait, if any one of you mommy is sending me a message that she wants to watch my live video but she can't find my page. I don't know for what reason, but she can't find my page. So if you can, please send her the link via messenger so she can watch. That would be awesome. Thank you so much. And yes, female infertility. So one of the most common cause of female infertility is PCOS. PCOS is polycystic ovarian syndrome. It is an occurrence or a syndrome wherein a female is having an ovary which is full of cysts, wherein supposedly it is full of healthy cells that will produce a healthy egg so that it can be fertilized the moment the woman will have an intercourse with a man, and there's also a healthy sperm that will conceive and make a fertilized egg. Okay, so it's an ovum producing organ, the ovaries. However, with PCOS, with polycystic ovarian syndrome, the ovary is no longer functioning normally. So it's no longer producing the regular hormone, which the regular ovum or the regular egg that is supposedly needed to conceive a child. So that's why most common symptom would be amenorrhea. Amenorrhea meaning absence of amenorrhea or absence of menstruation. Since menstrual cycle is the indication of a normal ovulating woman, the moment there is no ovulation, there is no menstruation, meaning it is somewhat safe to say that there's also no ovulation. So the woman is not producing the right amount, the necessary ovum or egg in order to reproduce kahit may partner pa siya. So infertility is considered as infertility if the woman kahit nag-bleed pa, merong normal na menstruation, but if meron siyang unprotected sex, she underwent unprotected sexual intercourse for 1 year without limit, for example, or if having an intercourse, there is a certain number. I think one or twice, at least once or twice in a month time. Basta meron siyang number. So as long as meron kang partner at hindi kayo nagpro-protection in hope that you will conceive a child, tapos isang taon na kayo nagsasama at hindi pa rin kayo nanganganak, so that is already a definition of infertility. However, if you're using protection by any means, could it be physical barrier like condoms, or it could also be contraceptive pills or injections or whatever, so given na yan that there's protection or contraception, so it's not it doesn't equate to the definition of infertility. But if you are not doing any of that and you really badly wanted to have a child but hindi pa rin, kahit anong ginagawa na, all the tips na lang ng mga tito, tita, lolo, lola on how to conceive a child, ginawa nyo na, lahat na lang ng simbahan, pinuntahan, lahat ng ritual na pwedeng gawin, nagawa na, and yet wala pa rin. So, we can look into the other causes of infertility. So, for women, one of the most common cause actually is PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. But that cause, we have to emphasize, is actually not the root cause. Because ang PCOS pala, its root cause is actually insulin resistance. Ano ang insulin resistance? So, it might take a little lengthy of an explanation, but there is no short term kasi when it comes to insulin resistance. Even me, it was never really that clear to me what is insulin resistance. Only after further readings, only after further research that I really get to appreciate kung ano yung insulin resistance. And unfortunately, most doctors also cannot really explain what insulin resistance is. So, insulin resistance is actually a byproduct of too much sugar in our body. So, sa sobra-sobra ng sugar sa ating katawan, come here, Onyx girl, come, up ka, up. So, sa sobra ng dami ng sugar sa ating katawan, it will actually, si Onyx girl na lang kakausapin ko ha. So, sa sobra kasi ng sugar ng ating katawan, meaning, tataas din yung insulin sa ating katawan. So, because sugar will actually trigger insulin production. Of the 3 macronutrients, tatlo, merong proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. But it's actually the carbohydrates that will increase or shoot up insulin secretion in our body. By nature, we only get to have spike of insulin only during harvest season. Usually, harvest season lang. Kasi, magkakilala si Ann Abelia at saka si Clea. Magkakilala pala kayo. Anyway, by nature, kasi yung normal lang sana na sugar source natin for the last 2 million years that humans have survived is the fruits, no? Or the fruits lang, but during harvest season. At you have to remember that harvest season, we mean the natural harvest season that only occurs once a year. If meron kayong puno ng kung ano-ano sa bahay nyo, wait for a while. I'll get Onyx girl. Kasi baka tumakbo. Come here talaga. Nakalimutan ko si Onyx girl. Baka biglang tumakbo. Come here. So, sorry for that. So, kasi yung fruits natin in season, yun lang dapat yon once a year. Kapag merong fruit in season, doon sana yung time na tataas yung insulin natin. Our insulin, meron siyang other name. Ang other name niya ay fat storing hormone. So, bakit siya fat storing hormone? Bakit siya nagso-store or nag-iimbak ng taba? It is because by nature, tayo ay supposed to fast. We are supposed to be fasting. If you don't like the word fasting, you can call it starvation. We are supposed to starve. We are actually used to starvation 75% of the time in a year. So, yung ginagawa ng katawan natin for us to survive, for us, no, na na-survive natin ang last 2 million years plus of human evolution, nakagawa tayo ng paraan. That is, kapag harvest season, tataas yung insulin, mag-iimbak siya ng taba, so that sa 75% of the time na wala masyadong makakain, we can still survive from the fats that we stored already. So, our body is actually not used to having so much insulin all throughout the year, because if you are eating carbohydrates or sugary foods for the last decades of your life, meaning niyan, yung katawan mo ay at all time high insulin level. High insulin level is not natural. Because nga, sabi natin, supposedly, minsan lang siya sa isang taon. And what will happen? What will happen kapag sige-sige yung insulin sa katawan natin? Mamamanhid yung ibang cells sa ating katawan. So, that will cause insulin resistance. Bakit siya namamanhid? It is actually protective. Yung insulin resistance, during the start of that insulin resistance, it's actually, the goal is to help us survive. Because kapag sige-sige ang pagpasok ng insulin sa katawan, it can even cause a lot of harm, because insulin is an anabolic hormone. Pwede natin siyang ihalin tulad sa isang engineer na mahilig gumawa. So, kapag merong insulin, ipupush niya yung cells niya na gumawa. So, if it's a cell na nasa, for example, na nasa liver natin, so gagawa lang siya ng gagawa. So, ano yung usual na ginagawa ng liver natin? So, pwede siyang gumawa ng mga enzymes, pwede siyang gumawa ng taba, because yung pinaka powerhouse natin ng gawaan, yung parang pinaka factory natin ng taba is actually our liver. So kapag maraming insulin, gagawa lang siya ng gagawa. And for our muscles naman, ang gagawin ng insulin, lalagyan niya ito ng sugar for use. However, kapag hindi ka naman gumagalaw, hindi ka naman nag-exercise, so anong gagawin ng muscles mo sa sugar na yon? So hindi niya ito tatanggapin. So kahit mayroon pang maraming insulin, pero kapag hindi ka naman gumagalaw at sige-sige pa rin yung insulin, magkakaroon siya ng tawag nating down regulation of insulin receptor. Anong ibig sabihin yan? ang ibig sabihin yan, sa sobrang dami na ng insulin sa katawan mo, isi-signal niya yung cells na huwag tanggapin ang insulin na papasok. So that way, it will protect the organ from influx of sugar and fats na pwedeng pumatay sa cells na yan. But the problem now is, meron tayong insulin resistance, but sige-sige pa rin yung pagkain natin ng sugar to a point na sobrang taas na ng insulin sa katawan natin, and yet, it's one of its goal or one of its function na pagpapababa ng sugar sa katawan natin, hindi niya nagagawa. And the saddest part is, those organs that are vulnerable to too much insulin will cause problem. So ano ang mga organs na vulnerable sa insulin, no? So these are organs that yung tawag natin highly metabolic or highly active. So isa dyan actually is our ovaries. So yung ovaries ng babae, active yan kasi nga parati siyang nagme-menstruate, gagawa siya ng eggs. So it is very much sensitive to insulin's effect. So hindi siya nagde-develop ng resistance when it comes to insulin. So insulin resistant ka na sa buong katawan mo, pero yung ovary mo hindi. So ang gumagawa niyan, ang effect niya, gumagawa siya ng cyst or tumors that are actually already not helping the function of a normal ovary. So instead of yung effect, yung gagawin lang ng ovary is magre-release lang ng egg once a month, hindi niya na ito magagawa kasi namumuo yung mga cyst or mga tumor sa kanyang ovary at hindi na siya nakakagawa ng cells that are supposedly be ejected, lalabas para ma-fertilize, okay? So other forms actually of insulin effect could also be found in our other systems like liver. Kaya yung liver natin, grabe yan, sobrang prone yan to damage kasi yung liver natin, kung ang insulin ang engineer, yung liver, siya yung construction worker na walang magagawa na as long as merong insulin na nagde-dictate sa kanya na gumawa ng taba, na gumawa ng inflammatory cells, na gumawa ng kung ano-anong mga byproducts, gagawa lang siya kahit wala ng demand para dito. So, it will end up actually scarring our liver. Pwede siyang parang, ano yan? Merong nanonood. So, our liver actually will end up getting scarred, no? Masusugatan, tapos mag-heal, tapos masusugatan ulit. And that is actually the cause of liver cirrhosis. Liver cirrhosis or the hardening, no? Parang naninigas yung liver. It's because of repeated damage, repair, na brought about by our food choices, which is usually sugar. So, yung mga gamot na binibigay, like for example, sino na nakainom ng insulin dito? So, yung insulin is, metformin pala. So, sino nang nakarinig or have an experience of taking metformin? I know it's the most popular siguro na medicine para sa mga diabetic nating parents, tito, tita, no? Kasi yung metformin, yung action niya, hindi talaga ganon ka-obvious kung ano talaga yung effect niya. But one of its effect is actually increasing insulin resistance. So that alone, it is increasing insulin sensitivity. So if you hear that, you might think that insulin sensitivity is good, no? Kasi pinapasensitive niya yung insulin natin. But actually, hindi rin siya maganda because it is addressing again the symptoms. It will make only the body more prone to insulin's effect, but the root cause, which is to lower down naturally lower down the need for insulin. Naturally, kapag nilimit natin yung need for insulin, malu-lower down din yung ating insulin resistance. Okay? Come here, Palangga. So what can be done? What can we do for our patients, for our females, for our mommies, soon-to-be mommies, or those who wanted to become mommies, is to actually improve insulin resistance by making your cells more insulin sensitive again. So how can you make your body become insulin sensitive again? There is only two ways, no? There's only two ways. One is limit the trigger that causes insulin release, okay? So you lower the demand for insulin. So how will you lower the demand for insulin? You just remove the sugar, you just remove the carbohydrates that are actually triggering release of insulin. So by doing that, naturally, bababa lang yung insulin sa katawan natin. And kapag bumaba na yung insulin sa katawan natin, hinay-hinay, insulin can be reversed, okay? But remember, for those that are already in diabetic for quite a long time, who've been taking medicines already for quite a long time, remember na it might take a while and it might take a longer route, no? Kasi baka exhausted na masyado yung pancreas nyo, yung katawan, yung mga cells nyo, sobrang manhid na sa insulin, and your insulin might be shooting up so high na kailangan na talaga nating i-lower down ito. Hello, Ma'am Amy. I hope you can benefit from this video. I really hope and I pray for you na it will take effect. Kasi I know you've been into fasting already and you've been into low carb already. But I hope we can be more committed, especially if yung pinaka-goal natin, alam natin. It is to improve our fertility, so that we can have our dream family and our future children para dumami ang gagandang lahi pa naman, no? So it's really okay. So when it comes to two ways to improve insulin sensitivity, you can remove the trigger that causes insulin secretion. Kapag nawala na yung trigger for insulin secretion, naturally bababa yung insulin level sa katawan mo and your sensitivity will just go up. But there is another faster route, no? There is a quickest route that can reverse insulin resistance, and that is through fasting, okay? So fasting, or ang deliberate na hindi pagkain o pag-inom ng kahit anong bagay na calorie containing that can induce insulin increase will naturally reverse insulin resistance. Paano? It is because when you are on fasted state, your body will never have a trigger to release insulin. After that one, your body will start to scavenge. Pwede siyang maghanap ng kung ano-anong pwede niyang makain sa kanyang katawan so that mabuhay ito. So, by theory, by definition of fasting, you are actually starving yourself para mabigyan ito ng chance na kainin yung mga extrang taba, extrang proteins, extrang kung ano-ano na naitambak ng insulin for so long. And eating those up through the process of autophagy or self-eating mechanism ng katawan natin, those PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, those ovaries na napuno ng cyst, pwede actually ma-resorb, no? Pwede siyang kainin ng katawan natin mismo para ito ay matunaw. There is real tumor debulking, there is real tumor eating mechanism ang katawan natin the moment na hindi ito natin papakainin. That's why fasting can really reverse insulin resistance. Fasting will lead to autophagy. And when autophagy is activated, the self-eating mechanism ng katawan natin, it can then have a chance na ma-cleanse din yung mga parts ng katawan natin na nasobrahan sa effect ng insulin, which is one of which is our ovaries. Okay? Now, for other causes, maraming ibang causes. Most common is the PCOS. Others would also merong iba na pinanganak talaga ng walang ovaries, meron ding iba na pinanganak talaga ng walang uterus. So all of those, hindi na natin yan ma-reverse. So meron ding other forms dyan, but what we are focusing and what we are actually focusing right now is the one that we can improve with our diet. And sadly, those that have congenital reasons bakit hindi sila makakaanak, like say for example yung mga pinanganak talaga ng walang kulang yung parts ng reproductive system, sadly, nakita natin that those errors in development, those errors in maturation of the child in a growing fetus sa sinapupunan ng babae are also related to maternal nutrition or yung mga pinagkakakain ng mommy. So it's very important that if you want to have a child, you are taking care of your body as if your child is already eating the food that you already have. Hello, Maming! Nakita ko, naka-online na si Maming. Thank you kung sino man ang nagbigay ng link kay Maming. Thank you so much. At nakahabol din siya. Maming is actually in her house and I'm here right now in Tambayanihan Garden Cafe. So, with the male infertility, bakit merong mga lalaking infertile or hindi makaanak? So, two most common causes of male infertility is erectile dysfunction or inability to do an erection, to have an erection during an intercourse. So, hindi well erected, so hindi capable of ejecting the necessary amount of sperms so that mabuntis yung partner na babae. Another cause is walang erectile dysfunction with good erection during intercourse. However, yung sperm count is maliit. So, kulang yung sperm count. And mind you, hindi ito nababase sa amount of sperm na lumalabas, okay? It is something microscopic. Hindi siya on the amount of fluid that you can see. It has to be tested in a microscope para makita yung sperm count and the quality of sperms. Kasi sometimes maraming sperms in millions ang lumalabas during an ejaculation. It's just that not many sperms are healthy. Yung iba putol, yung iba kulang yung parts, kulang yung chromosomes. So, even if mag-meet yung healthy egg at saka yung millions na sperm na yon, pero kung ang sperm na yon ay weak, ang sperm na yon ay hindi kompleto sa parts or hindi healthy, it will still not become a fertilized egg. Hindi pa rin makakabuo. So, it is important na yung babae at lalaki will have a healthy lifestyle together kasi that's the only way to make sure na both of you are producing healthy and can contribute both to the formation of your conceived child, no? Kasi yung iba, nakikita nila yung babae mataba, for example, tapos yung lalaki fit, no? Tapos, yung sasabihin lang nila, yung babae lang yung may problema kasi hindi yung lalaki fit, so yung babae lang yung ipapadiet, yung babae lang yung maglo-low carb, and all the while, hindi mo alam. You can never be sure unless makakapagpa-fertility consult ka talaga and look into your own sperm count and overall na structural workup para malaman mo and you can be sure that the male partner is really very healthy, na wala talagang contribution to the partnership's infertility. So, it's good kung akala mo, yan yung lalaki na muscular is already healthy. No. Insulin's effect, insulin resistance can be present even to the most muscular, even to the very athletic people. Yung iba nga, very athletic, nagmamarathon, triathlete, merong akong kakilala, ano pa nga siya, varsity in school, very young. So, hindi mo talaga akalain na he has something na meron siyang dinadala. But the insulin resistance, umepekto sa kanya, not in fertility-wise, but in his bone. Kasi yung bone natin, yung bone marrow natin is also one of the most vulnerable when it comes to too much insulin effect. Kasi yung bone marrow natin, siya yung nagpo-produce ng cells, siya yung nagpo-produce ng bagong blood cells natin, like for example, our platelet, our red blood cells, our white blood cells. So it can be prone to that. So that young varsity player, no, very healthy looking, hindi nga mahilig sa sweets, hindi nga mahilig sa junk foods, pero grabe kung mag-rise kasi di ba nga it's a common practice to do carbo loading before an event. Yun, yung tuhod niya biglang lumaki and to their surprise, in a matter of few months, diagnosed with osteosarcoma or cancer of the bone. So, hindi basihan ang muscle build, hindi basihan ang bulk ng katawan, ang muscle sa katawan, when how healthy you are. I already have a patient, no? Pina-work up ko at lahat-lahat kasi hindi tumataba. So, I know they are not fat formers. So, since it's their first time to do a blood workup, pina-blood workup ko na lahat. And, to their surprise, no? Normal lahat. Normal yung liver function, normal yung kidney function, normal yung blood sugar, normal yung blood pressure, normal din yung cholesterol, no? And they are all on a very high carb diet, mostly on carbohydrates, rice and bread talaga. But ano yung primary complaint nila? Yung isa may tumor sa lieg. Yung isa may tumor din sa lieg because I'm a head and neck surgeon, no? So my consultations is usually head and neck na mga tumors. So meron silang bukol sa thyroid, yung isa merong bukol sa parotid, tapos meron pang tumutubong bukol sa likod ng lieg, which is I suspect are lymph nodes. So yun, you can see how insulin, how too much sugar can really affect anybody. So, one way to counter that is to make sure, kahit kasi hindi man obvious yung effect ng insulin sa iba, hindi man as obvious as diabetes, it may not be as obvious as hypertension, it may not be as obvious as infertility even, but it can manifest as tumors. And usually, they go together, tumors and allergies and inflammation. So, madali silang mga nangangate, kahit konting nai-irritate agad yung skin, matagal gumaling, and then kapag nagsugat, bigla-bigla, nag-flare up, nagkakaroon ng abscess, nagkakaroon ng nana. So, you can see how their body is really, really high when it comes to inflammation. Very highly inflammatory yung body nila. And that inflammatory process can lead to tumor formation. And tumors and these inflammation can cause a lot of damage to the most important organs in our body. One of the most active during especially the reproductive age, no, of both men and women are our reproductive organs. So for the males, it's their scrotum, which contains the testicles, which contains our organ that produces the sperms, whereas for the females, it is the ovary that's producing the egg. So if you want to have better chances, if you won't leave anything to chance, you better stay low carb. So staying low carb, avoiding carbohydrates, avoiding sugar is your best chance to conceive. I also know one na hindi alam na pregnant siya, and then later on at 5 weeks kasi nalaman niyang pregnant pala siya, but she was on a binge party here and there na puro high carb, and to our dismay, no, she lost the child at 6 weeks ata. After 6 weeks, nung next niya na ultrasound, wala nang heartbeat. So it was really, really disheartening kasi gustong-gusto niya na sana magka-baby. So, hindi lang niya alam na pregnant na sila by then, but it was lost also without them knowing what happened. But if you will look closely, meron siyang series of everyday high carb eating, chocolates, sweets, lahat-lahat na lang pinagkakakain. So that wasn't helpful with the child. So I told her na, don't worry, you are still young. It's although it was very, very sad, but I believe you can conceive in no time. You try to do what you need to do as if buntis ka na. So you go with real foods, you avoid simple sugars, you avoid high carb meals, nutritionally devoid carbohydrates like rice, pasta. Walang nutrition yan. There's no vitamins and minerals in pasta, breads and rice and oats even. It's just full of carbohydrates. If you want to eat more nutritious carbohydrates, you are better off eating vegetables. But most importantly, you can focus on eating real meat. So you can focus on our safe list. So meat products, animal meat products that could be pwede ang pork, beef, chicken, eggs, all of that, fish if you want. You can eat as many of that as possible, and you can just add cruciferous greens, green leafy vegetables, cauliflower, broccoli, pechay, cabbage. You can add that to your meal and add additional fats. So that you'll have better chances of having a healthy body, a healthy reproductive system that can carry a child. And voila, in 2 months' time, she is pregnant again. And right now, I'm so glad that her pregnancy is looking well and okay. I also have 2 other close to me, close friends and family who are also expecting. I think the other one will give birth this month, and the other one on March. So they started doing low carb and fasting also since 2019. I think 2019. Sila yung mga one of the first readers of the book, no? So we have a book that we wrote para talaga for health conscious ones. So aside from doing low carb and aside from fasting, there is also one important thing that you need to do. Simple lang siya. But it could be the key as well to improve your chances of becoming fertile. And that is salt. Okay? Yung asin. Wala ba tayong asin dito? So, yung asin lang. Yung asin. Addition of salt. Intake of adequate amount of salt. No? Enough amount of salt can actually improve your body into making it more fertile, no? Salt is very essential in our body. It is the most common electrolyte, and halos lahat, if not all of our our biochemical processes ng body natin related actually to salt. So there is an exchange, there are a lot of transporters na lahat ng paggawan, lahat ng nangyayari sa katawan natin usually need of sodium transporters, sodium potassium transporter, sodium magnesium transporter, sodium whatever transporter, sodium glucose transporter. So maraming mga transporter sa katawan natin na nangangailangan ng sodium. And without adequate sodium, you can actually have a lot more problem than having too much sodium. It is now known that our body, the human body, can actually take or process a lot of sodium. It's just that yung sodium na kinakain natin, sobrang konti. What we need, it's because we were already brainwashed na ang asin ay masama sa katawan. But we now understand that those flawed, no, those researches na pinagbasehan natin that sodium is bad is actually related to sugar intake. It's just that we were barking at the wrong tree. Akala natin yung may mga matataas na sodium intake are the ones that are damaging the kidneys, when in fact it's actually not the sodium that's damaging our kidneys. It's the sugar that's damaging our kidneys. It's just that the moment na yung katawan natin ay nasira na sa sugar, it can no longer function well. It can no longer function normally like the processing of sodium or asin sa katawan natin, and we already have manifestations like edema or pamamaga or sodium retention or hindi na makaihi or hindi na mailabas yung sobrang asin sa katawan, and that is related to first the high amount of sugar intake. So if you have problems with fertility, I suggest that you consult first with your OB-GYN or your fertility physicians, and you can check, no, what's your problem. As long as you don't have structural problem, kompleto naman yung organs mo, tapos wala ka namang certain chromosomal abnormalities, like babae ka tingnan pero yung chromosome mo pala kay pang lalaki, merong ganyan. So as long as you are, the female is really XX and the male is really XY, at kompleto yung organs of reproduction, then you can proceed with a low carb and fasting lifestyle. Kasi for the longest time, maraming nagko-consult ng fertility expert na hindi natulungan. They are spending hundreds of thousands of pesos just to have the fertility workup, the treatments. Some are even taking a lot of fertility drugs, and those fertility drugs are actually pwedeng-pwede siya, but these are very prone to miscarriage or triplets, quadruplets na mga panganganak that are also high risk of abortion kasi nga hindi siya natural. As kahit meron pang magti-trigger, ng gamot para maglabas ng egg cell yung babae. But if there's no uterus, there's no healthy bed or bahay ng bata na kung saan siya pwedeng lumaki, which is our uterus. Kapag hindi healthy yung uterus, the viability, the chances of viability ng bata is very, very low. Those are what's happening with sa mga favorite nating mga artista, no? Na alam natin na buntis, tapos expecting triplets, tapos after a while na who had abortion, na hindi alam kung anong rason. It's because they are only considering the symptomatic and outcome na ng poor nutrition, but they are not tackling the root cause talaga, which is actually the too much inflammation and too much insulin in the body. So we have to lower down our insulin in the body by first lowering its demand for it through sugar. May mga dito, ants dito. So you have to lower your need for insulin. The moment you lower down your need for insulin, bababa yung insulin sa katawan natin and you will naturally heal. Remember, our body is dying to heal itself. Gustong-gusto niyang gumaling. Gustong-gusto niya mag-go through ng natural process of healing. It's just that, hindi natin siya nabibigyan ng panahon. We don't allow ourselves to heal because we are always keeping it busy digesting the foods that we are eating, and also at the same time we are not giving a chance for our body to cleanse itself. Kasi kapag nag-fasting tayo, kapag hindi tayo parating kumakain, that is actually an opportunity for our body to cleanse itself. Kukunin niya yung mga extra na garbage, extra na mga proteins na nakaklog dyan, extra na fats, and even in the form of tumors, no, na nagagawa na lang because of too much food intake. So if we stop that, if we go into fasting, we are actually giving our body a chance to eat those up. Pwede niyang kunin yon, pwede niyang linisin yon, so that that organ system, especially what we're talking about, the reproductive system, the testicles of the females, the ovaries of the females, and the ovaries of the females can actually become healthier and function on its own. And comes erectile dysfunction, yung inability to have an erection during an intercourse. It is also related to blood vessel health. So blood vessel health, kasi yung penis, it's made up actually of blood vessels. Nag-erect siya or it hardens during intercourse because it's becoming full of blood, no? Napupuno siya ng dugo. So it's the blood that makes an erection effective. However, kapag walang blood na pumupunta doon, say for example, the person is already hypertensive, kapag sobrang taas yung blood pressure, hindi na siya makakaabot sa penis kasi yung pressure ng katawan niya, buong katawan niya, sobrang taas na ng blood pressure, na the penis or the organ itself will no longer become an effective when it comes to blood rushing in to have an effective erection. Another cause would be atherosclerosis, like for example, merong mga blockage in the blood vessels na pwede ding magkaroon ng problem. So Catherine and Dalangin Huare, ako PCOS, but luckily I have triplets. Wow, I'm so happy for you. Mas maganda yung makakarinig tayo ng success stories like this, no? So for those naman na may PCOS but wala pa namang planong magkaanak, I know for sure, I know people who are very close to me na in 2 months time lang na nag-OMAD sila. 1 meal a day, yung fasting schedule nila is 20 to 23 hours in a day and eating only 1 to 4 hours in a day for 2 months, at they stayed low carb. So it's very important to do both, no, when you can, fasting at saka low carb. But if you can't do both, at least do one lang muna and then another one ang yung isa, so that at least hindi doble yung injury na binibigay mo sa katawan mo. But if you are capable of doing fasting and also doing low carb, you are much better doing that because you'll have more chances of becoming healthy, not just becoming fertile, but also overall wellness talaga. So those friends of mine na nag-strictly do their fasting from the regular 16 hours fasting, they extended 6 to 18 hours and then 20 hours And after 2 months, boom, regular na yung menstruation nila. So, if ever they decide to have a child, surely, I know, no doubt about it, mabibabumutis yan. They can easily have a good and safe pregnancy afterwards. And that is what I wish for you as well, no? And I hope you will have the patience not to rush things. Remember, mas matagal nating inabuso yung katawan natin before we learn to really take care of it, before we learn to really value it and really be conscious and be mindful kung ano yung nilalagay or sinusubo natin sa ating katawan. But if you've been into this way of life for so long and wala pa rin, better seek consultation with an infertility expert, yung mga fertility centers natin. And kung pwede pa lang, those na fertility expert who are also knowledgeable with low carb nutrition and fasting lifestyle. Kasi with knowing what we know now, lahat ng doktor really should know about low carb, really should know about insulin resistance, how insulin resistance is related to many majority of the illnesses that are causing the consultations of many patients right now. Of course, no, yun yung kinabubuhay namin. But personally, I don't want seeing patients every now and then having the same complaints. And I don't want to have patients that I will just continue to give medications continuously, regularly, because bibig sabihin yan, I am not actually helping them with their illness. I'd rather tell them na kung gusto ko, kung magkita man tayo, gusto ko magkita tayo sa mall or sa coffee shop or kung saan man, having and enjoying our lives. 1, 2, 3 consultations is already enough. Annual follow-up just to have an overall checkup is okay, but regular monthly checkup for something na pabalik-balik without addressing the root cause, which is nutrition, that is just actually too much. So, tingnan natin kung anong oras na ngayon. What time is it na ba? Let's see. So, it's already 6:32. Medyo overtime na naman tayo. If you have questions, we can still accommodate that. Good evening, Ferdeline, and of course, Jo Laksama. Thank you so much. Merdic Gamboa. Hello, Juliet Guritan Mendoza. Thank you po. Don't worry. Pwede naman pong i-replay. Stephanie Beltran. Girasol Laroa. Daghang salamat, Doc. And May Ann Baluyot. Ana Baliana, Kasha, na-freeze. Oh, na-freeze ba? I hope it's okay. Hindi sila nagpasabi na-freeze. Shah de la Cruz, hello po, Doc. Sakto kayo ni imong topic sa akong condition karon. I hope it will help you. Practicing fasting and LCIF para ma-normalize po ang mens. Big help po ang topic niyo, Doc. Catherine and Dalangin Juarez. Thank you so much for sharing your story and of course, your success story. I hope it can inspire, no? Especially our dear friends, no? To Miss Melanie, who recommended to have this topic discussed. Actually, matagal ko talagang gustong i-topic yung fertility. I was waiting for that friend of mine, yung sabi kong expecting ngayon. Kaya lang, they're also busy with business and at the same time, sa pregnancy niya, so she can't do pa. Tapos na parang nahihiya daw kasi tumaba. Sige, ba't sabi ko sa kanya, wag kang mahiya na mataba ka, tingnan, kasi you're pregnant. The only time for a woman to really be proud and happy na mataba siya is when she is pregnant and when she is breastfeeding. After that, it's okay. Other than that, wala talagang kailangan kakasama yan. Because you are providing nutrition for your child. Of course, hindi naman siya yung pinaka reason, no, that you can just eat whatever you want kasi buntis ka or kasi nagbe-breastfeed ka. You won't make that as an excuse. But if you are eating healthy, if you're eating right, tapos mas tumataba ka, then that's okay. It will just normalize in time. May question, myoma can cause infertility? Yes. So myoma, it's one of the tumors, no, of the uterus din. So mga benign tumors lang sila. So we discussed, no, that it's still part of insulin resistance na spectrum. Effect pa rin yan ng insulin resistance. Insulin, too much insulin in the body, kapag yung mga cells mo, like your muscles is already resistant to insulin, but there will always be certain organs and cells in our body that is prone to insulin's effect, and it can lead to tumorigenesis. So insulin can have other names. It can be a fat storing hormone. It is also a growth factor or a growth inducing hormone. It is also an tumor inducer kapag sobra-sobra na. So we don't want that. Emma Handa, those with kidney stones can also take salt. Yes, as long as walang sugar. So better to have consult. Kailangan muna ipakita. You have to consult with specialist first. Kasi if meron na talagang stone formation, kailangan munang kunin yan. It can be done surgically or via ultrasound, yung parang lithotripsy. So you can do that. But otherwise, salt is really not bad. But if meron ng kidney stones, better to have it removed first. Just like the ones with gallbladder stone na na-form then because of too much carbohydrate in the diet for so long, chronic then na insulin spike sa katawan, and stone formation can still be related to poor intake, no? Especially certain foods na high in oxalates. So, you can check that. Ano mga foods na mataas sa oxalates? Tingnan nyo, baka yan yung pinakarami yung kinakain. So, you have to improve that. However, how I wish we can still talk more. But don't worry, babalik pa naman tayo this Friday, still at 5:30 in the afternoon. If you have topics you want to discuss, kindly send me a message or put it in the comment section. But if you wish to know more, no, ito yung surprise natin ngayon. So, this is the trio pack. So, dumating na yung books natin from Amazon USA. So, nandito na sila. So, we have this. So, regularly, yung total niya, I think, around 2,500 plus shipping pa from the USA, no? But for this Valentine season, for those who will order until February 14, we will have it on sale. Only 2,100. Tapos, ipi-free na namin yung shipping dito sa Pilipinas when it's in only here in the Philippines. Now, if you are abroad, you can order it directly from Amazon. But for those in the Philippines, I order it for you para yung hindi na kayo mahirapan. So, I will be the one to shoulder the shipping fee for only 2,100. You can get this as your gift to yourself and to your loved one. So, yung infertility is just one chapter here. Other chapters of book 2 would include ano pa ba? Hypertension, diabetes, tumor formation, also allergies, and high cholesterol, childhood obesity, diabetes, and so many others. So, for those who want to do it, so book 1 is actually the fasting protocol. Book 2 is an overall health and wellness book. So, kahit ayaw mong pumayat, kung hindi mo gustong pumayat, but you want to improve your health, so book 2 is for you. And lastly, we have book 3, yung favorite natin. So, it's wellness. So, it's everything that will complete your journey to health. So, if you want to know more, send me a message lang and our office admin will get back to you para mapadala natin when you want it. So, our timeline is February 14. We will have it on sale or for only 2,100 and free na yung shipping fee natin. So, thank you so much. I hope you get to learn something from this video. And if you wish to know more, send me a message lang. If you want to have an online consultation or face-to-face consultation even, just send a message so we can schedule that. I wish everyone a happy Valentine's, happy Heart Month, happy advanced Chinese New Year. But kita pa tayo this coming Feb 12 na, it's the Chinese New Year talaga. We will all celebrate this life because we are so blessed to be able to learn, no? Finally, after decades and decades na naloko tayo ng maraming pharmaceutical and food industry that's been telling us to eat this and drink that medicine, eat that, and you can eat whatever you want, but as long as you have medicine, so hindi na tayo papaloko. So we are now at the era that we are claiming our health and we are doing it on our own, no? And I'm here to help you in any way I can. This advocacy, I'm so happy that you are here with me and we continue to do so for ourselves, for our future, for our loved ones, and the cause that we believe in. Maraming salamat po. Happy fasting. Happy low carb feasting. So, fast as long as you can, and remember to always stay low carb so that you will stay safe. Maraming salamat po. Bye-bye!